to SME Heartbeats, raw stories, bold futures, your go-to podcast for the untold tales of entrepreneurship and innovation. I'm Sanka Kankiti, here to illuminate the extraordinary journey of small and medium-sized businesses with you. With over 95% of companies worldwide falling into the SME category, that includes SMBs as well, and creating 70% of jobs, it's clear. These companies aren't just businesses, they're the very backbone of our society. Yet in a world where 67% of these businesses struggle and half won't see their 5th anniversary, their stories often go untold. It's time to change. SME Heartbeats is more than a podcast. It's a mission to spotlight the unsung champions of our global village. Together, we'll explore their challenges, celebrate their triumphs, and learn from their journeys. Remember, every time we choose to spend $1, we're voting on the world we want to live in. So join me as we cast our votes for a world that uplifts and supports the heart and soul of our economy, the SMBs and the SMEs. Let's go far together. Hi, this is SME Heartbeats. Today we'll be talking to Justine McDonald of a company called The Goal Chasers. We'll find out the true meaning of perseverance and of overcoming obstacles. So please, take a moment. Let's see what Justine has to say. We were talking about the rules of 3.
Yes. Okay, so with the rule of 3, what I really wanted to be able to do is keep things really simple. So taking this concept of 3 main goals for the year that you want to focus on, and then 3 micro tasks per day that you're going to work on to get towards that bigger goal, so that every day you can feel like you've actually accomplished something. We've all been in that cycle of this never-ending to-do list, right? Where we're just adding to the bottom. So what I want to instill with the women that I work with and anyone who uses my planners is, when you've done 3 things in a day to move yourself forward, you have won that day. That is something to be celebrated, right? It is an instant sense of accomplishment and a burst of confidence. And you're more likely to wake up tomorrow and do 3 things that feel uncomfortable or new or challenging, when your brain just has the recent evidence that yesterday I did 3 things and it felt really good. Or yesterday I could do 3 small little tasks that were uncomfortable. So it just builds that self-propelling momentum inside.
Absolutely. I think it's great. And I think, was there a moment that made you say, right now, I'm going to get off the hamster wheel and I'm going to dedicate my life, or my business, I should say, to these 3 things in helping these women?
Oh, there was a moment. Yeah. So I had dabbled in entrepreneurship when my first daughter was about 1, and she's now 7, when she was about 1. And that business, unfortunately, got closed overnight by Amazon. I was bringing in my own party supplies overseas, and I had an Amazon storefront. And inside, I was selling those paper rice lanterns that were entangled. That was like really cool at the time. They were biodegradable. And then overnight, Amazon just said, anything with a flammable disc, we're no longer having in our warehouse. Your store is getting shut down.
Wow. So without warning.
No warning. And I had thousands of these across the United States in all of these different Amazon warehouses. And I didn't have the mental flexibility at that time to say, okay, pull up your boots and find another place to put these lanterns. I just went into freeze state. And so I shut the store down. I let them keep the lanterns, and I just went back to work in a marketing job. So I took a marketing role, which is what I had been doing previously. And I took a pretty risky role. At that time, the business was in a lot of trouble, and they basically said, you've got a year here to fix it, otherwise you don't have a job. Like, those were the terms that I went into that job with. And
no one can say you're not brave. I think we need to take a moment and just talk about that for a second.
I mean, bravery comes from it comes from getting kicked down your whole life and getting back up and realizing you didn't die. So
I think, but so many people, they'll roll up in the ball and and wish they were in the fetus position and are unable to come back up from different crises, different trauma. What is it about you that makes you say, hey, you know what? I make the choice to get up. I make the choice to fight back. I make the choice to try something else.
I mean, I think the reality is that I have something bigger that I want to accomplish, that it's not just me, right? It's not just me. And the moment that I'll share with you when I had that kind of that epiphany was between myself and my husband. But when you're fighting for something that's bigger than just about how many zeros you want in your bank account or upgrading your car, then you have something inside of you to fight for every single day, even on the days that you don't want to. And there's lots of days. We know there's lots of days when you don't want to fight. You're tired of fighting. You're tired of the algorithm not working and the finances being rocky and the clients saying no or being unhappy. Like, we get tired of the fight. But this isn't really about me. Like, I'm just a body working through a process that I feel like I was born with. I was just born with this tenacity to want something more for myself. And the years that I look back sitting in a desk job in that paralyzed feeling, those years were harder. It was harder for me to know there was something bigger for me available, but I was stuck by the confines of what my boss thought was good, or my hours, or my pay. This feels rocky, but it's freedom.
Interesting. So, as far as goal chasers, what are some of the turning points or major challenges, since we're talking about that, that you faced in this path that you're on?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the first challenge. The first challenge was I worked in this marketing role for a year, and I actually went to a Rachel Hollis conference in Toronto, and it was March 2020. So it was the very, very beginning of the pandemic. And it was like, okay, we're not going to hug everybody like we normally do at the conference. It was like the very beginning. And I came back and I got fired from my marketing job.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
So my husband and I had just moved out of our basement. We moved ourselves into the basement of our house and rented our house on Airbnb after my Amazon store got shut down while I found a new job, right? So we had just moved ourselves out of the basement. Things were settling. We took our kids on a trip to Disney World that we actually had money for. We were so excited. And 30 days later, I got fired.
You know, life sometimes.
Just like, in hindsight, good. At the time, not so good. So I remember I packed up my stuff, I left, I got in my car, and I called my husband, and I told him what happened. And the sound of his voice when he said, Justine, what are you going to do?
Wow. It feels like it was a profound moment. A simple sentence, but really profound.
It was, I am done with this roller coaster. I am done with all of the ups and downs. I need you to give me some stability. And the interesting thing is that was a turning point for me to create the Mama's Got Goals planner. I left this conference. I felt so amazing. I felt so empowered. I had all these ideas to change my life. And then I came home, my house was a disaster, my kids were screaming, and I got fired from my job the next day. And I was like, I need a tool that reminds me to take care of myself. And I already use a day planner, so can I just put all of these tools inside, right? But what came after was the most rockiest instability that I've ever had in my life with entrepreneurship. Like, it brought me to this place that was more unstable on the outside to people who prefer the 9-to-5 world and the consistency of that, but it brought so much certainty in myself on the inside, which if you're an entrepreneur, you get that. If you're someone who is not an entrepreneur, you think I'm totally out there. But for me, the biggest challenge with entrepreneurship has been this one single thing. This one single thing is I'm a very passionate speaker and I love what I do and I love connecting with women and I love helping a stranger in the grocery store if I could. But the moment in my nervous system that there's financial instability and there's a lack of safety, my voice, my body wants to shut down because it's not safe. So then what happens? Then my
Everything
business,
down.
everything stops, right? So
Yes.
that has been the cycle. So for me in the earlier days of entrepreneurship, when I wasn't getting as many clients and I didn't have any consistent revenue whatsoever, I would not go on Instagram stories for like 2 weeks, or I would just do nothing in my business. I would be in complete freeze mode. And so the real work for me has been trusting that things are going to work out and actually continuing to use my voice through the challenging times so that I can shorten the amount of time my body feels unsafe in the current circumstances.
I feel it important to also mention that given the timing, it was also in the middle of a global pandemic. I mean, I
Also
don't know,
that.
you didn't mention it, but I thought it was really important to bring that into the if we had to think of any reason why people would quit in your situation and give up the dream, it would be in a situation like that. But that's not what you did. You kept going. Yep, tell me.
And I'll tell you that story because it is very interesting. I assumed because I wanted to hide behind my skills and not have to put my personal brand on the line because I don't like rejection. Who does? But it was something I struggled with as a kid. Everyone sees all the brave tasks, but internally it's often very, very tumultuous for me, as it is for many people, right? But the brave face masks a lot of that for people externally. So I thought that I had purchased this software to learn how to list my products on Amazon and to get ranking and to get more sales. So I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm just going to have this beautiful, amazing, gorgeous planner, like nothing else on the market. I'm just going to sell it on Amazon and I'm going to sit in my house and like bake my muffins and like do my mom things and just watch the sales roll in on Amazon. This is what my brain was telling me was going to
The YouTube videos are telling you that as well, so I can understand why your
So
brain
are the
went to.
YouTube videos and the Amazon course that I bought also told me that was going to happen. Newsflash, the funny part is my product never made it to Amazon. I sold
Wow.
it on my website and through Instagram. Um, and what ended up happening is as I was building this business, I just was telling the story really authentically, like, oh, my planners are delayed. Oh, this shipping thing happened. Oh, I was up till 5 o'clock in the morning working with China because they're in opposite hours every night. And in the middle of this, as I was building this business, actually, my kids' daycare was closed. So I would
Okay.
wake up at 7 with them. I would be with them from 7 till 5 when my husband came home. And then from 5 to 8, I would nap. And then I would work from 8 until 2 or 3 in the morning every night for months as I was
Wow.
building my planner. But I thought I'm just gonna sell planners and I can stay in my pajamas all day and I can never be up for rejection. And even if I was rejected, they're rejecting the planner. They're not rejecting me.
Right.
But as people were watching the journey unfold, I had some people ask me if I could help them build their product-based business.
Hmm.
And given that I had worked in marketing and sales for small business brands for 10 years previous, I was like, okay, yeah, I can help you. And that evolved into my very first coaching program called the Mama Mentorship that brought women across dozens of different industries together to all band together in motherhood as they were figuring out this rocky journey of entrepreneurship together. And before I knew it, I had dozens of clients and hundreds of thousands in revenue. And the planner became a marketing tool and I became the face of my brand.
Do you think that you mentioned that you started with moms, and
Mhm.
just from our conversations off program, I know that you were looking at maybe helping another segment. We'll say another instead of a
Mhm.
different segment. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So, first, I want to say for anyone listening who maybe you are an aspiring entrepreneur, a current entrepreneur, maybe you've paused, maybe things are going really well. If you are in a place right now where you are looking for answers and you don't know where to start, you feel overwhelmed, you know, you want something different, you don't know what it is, start with breath work. Start with breath work. And let me tell you, when you get quiet and you give yourself permission to have this pause, the answers are going to come. The answers are going to come. And my best advice that I can give anyone saying when you're going to start any kind of somatic journey, breath work, meditation, EFT tapping, or a few. But I find breath work to be the most powerful for starters, is when an answer comes, it's not probably going to make perfect sense to you when you're trying something new. Didn't make any sense to me that I was all of a sudden going to start selling planners.
I would say the
Right?
same thing. It's very true.
Right? But you have to listen. It's like it's life, God, the universe is giving you a gift. You're lying there asking for some reprieve from this hamster wheel, and someone is offering an answer to you. You need to listen to that answer. You're asking for a different result, so you're going to get a different response. And you have to remember that, right? That something is going to come through and it's not going to make any sense. And it always does in hindsight, but just give yourself the gift of exploring all of the crazy information and downloads and thoughts that are going to come to you before you let your brain say, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? Which is what our brain wants to do.
Yeah.
So that's just what I want to say for anyone listening right now.
So why don't you share some of the future developments that you have? It's the beginning of a new year.
Yes. So every year, first of all, my new website just launched, which means I now have a new offer called Six Figure Sales School, which I'm super excited about. It takes entrepreneurs from the 0 to 6 figure mark. And then I have my Keystone program called the Mentorship. So all of my programs are a little bit of personal touch in them. So you're never just taking a course and you never talk to me. So on the lower end, the Six Figure Sales School still has some access to me. And then the Mentorship is like a real integration of intimate strategy development, as well as the energetic sessions that we have with the facilitator to help you take these new strategies and take these new successes and just really, really try them on in your body and move forward. So those are the programs that I have going on. I'm also launching a podcast and working on building out my speaking engagements. I did quite a few of them in 2023 and just really focusing on that for 2024. And this year, I always break my goals into 3 categories. So I have family, finances, and fitness. So spending lots of time, big pillars, right? And so under each category, the way I work it is I take 3 categories and then I have 3 goals under each category maximum. And then I just take the little micro tasks and schedule them in. So one of them is making sure my girls are at grade level for math and reading because they're in grade 1 and 3. So I schedule in my calendar reading with Kenzie and Layla every day at 4:30, right? So it's always taking the big thing and then doing something with it. It's how do you put it into your life? I have little from Amazon, these little whiteboards that have multiplication and addition tables, right? Like I'm actually putting tools into my everyday life to make sure that I'm reminding myself that these goals are important, and they're important in the small little 5, 10, 15, 20 minute pockets of time every single day. So that is on the family side. On the financial side, obviously working on financial freedom for my family, which is the time, and financial freedom is always the goal with entrepreneurs. So really working on creating those offers. So for me, Six Figure Sales School, I could have 1 person in it or 1,000 people in it and they would get the same experience. So I wanted to create something that would be scalable for me so that I can create some more financial freedom and stability for me. And then on the fitness side, I'm working on lifting weights this year, which for people who like lifting weights are like, why is that a goal? Because I don't like it. And my body's been asking for it. I've got all the creaks and the back thing, and I need more strength in my legs and my back, yada, yada.
Joy turning 40.
Yeah, I know I'm supposed to be doing it. I don't want to, but I try to take my own advice and do the things that I don't want to do when I know that they're actually going to give me the result I'm looking for in my life, which is mobility, strength, energy. So working on doing a duo date night where my husband is my personal trainer at the gym. So I get like two birds with one stone because I'm a mom and an entrepreneur and I only got so much time.
That's really smart. That's really smart. So why don't you tell us what the website address is? We'll also include it in our intros, but just coming from you, I think is a little bit special.
Yes. So it's thegoalchasers.com. And it is, I just launched it today, so it's a very emotional day for me to be even on here talking about it because it has been such a labor of love. And I look back again, it's like looking back on your old goals. I screenshotted all the pages of my old website to remember how excited and proud I was 3 years ago. I launched it right before like the day before the Jilly Academy launch. So I had a website up so I could feel credible. And I look at that old website and I think, wow, that does not resemble anything that I am today. Like she's completely unrecognizable to me, but at the time it was so huge and exciting. So it's so fun to take your brand and your website to and have it be a true reflection of who you are as a person. So I'm very excited for the launch. It's a beautiful, beautiful site. So
I'm sure I will be looking at it either today, latest tomorrow, to see everything you've done. I'm so proud of you. I haven't known you very long, but from the conversations that we have to where we are today, and I feel honored that we're actually having this conversation on the celebration day of your website. So I'm thinking that something is meant to be there. Any last comments on thoughts that you'd like people to, or takeaways that you'd like people to have before we sign off?
Yes. I just want you to know that you are absolutely capable of any dream that you have on your heart. It doesn't matter if it's been sitting on the shelf for 20 years and you've tried every January 1st to put your best foot forward and to accomplish it. It is always, always available to you. And so your job is to decide that you deserve the result. And your second job is to put yourself in a situation with people and places and resources that allow you to continue to be inspired. And life will unfold for you in a beautiful, incredible way when you show up for yourself. And I promise you, it will be so much better than you even could have put on your goal list if you just start today and start with what you have.
Those are great last words to end with. I want to thank you. I feel just in the few months I've known you, so many things seem to have evolved and become something out of the thoughts and the aspirations you had shared previously. So I'm really, really excited to continue to see how you grow.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your time and having me here and inside our program together. It's been amazing to get to know you and to have you and as a part of this journey too. So thank you so much.
Yes, definitely.